In this presentation, I'm going to be looking at how my previous tasks are going to help me when making my own opening sequence thriller genre film. Starting off with the induction task, where I looked at sound, editing, titles and credits, camera angles and characters. This basically gave me a small overview of everything I was going to be learning through my next tasks. It was really useful. It told me little bits of information which I could then build upon later on. My preliminary task focused mainly on camera techniques. I learned the three most important ones, which are shot, reverse shot, 180-degree rule and match on action. I'm going to use all of these when I make my thriller film because they're all so useful to creating a good opening sequence and film. My understanding of thriller codes and conventions, probably the most useful task I did. It's going to let me use all of the things I found out and then put it in my thriller film. These are going to be stuff like iconography, which is stuff like guns and car chases, all that stuff which I can now use. Thriller research on building suspense, again, a really useful task to do. Suspense is key in almost all thriller films. From doing that, I know how to build suspense. I can now use that in my opening sequence. Opening sequence focusing on genre. I studied two films, one thriller genre and one comedy genre. They had one thing in common, which was that they let the audience know what genre the film was really early. This is something I'm going to do because I think it's priceless. The audience has to know what genre the film is going to be within 2 minutes of the film, really. Pre-production narrative BFI research. The BFI trip was really useful. I was able to read books, look at old films, look at recent films, see what they had in common, see what I can sort of steal from them and use in my opening sequence. A really, really useful task. It let me see what everything had in comparison, so I can then take the best from each little bit. Creative filmmaking techniques. This was really similar to an earlier task where again I looked at camera, sound, lighting, mise-en-scene and editing. This is basically just going into a lot more detail for my induction task right at the beginning, but here I've gone into much greater detail, looked at different techniques and different ways of doing each thing. My final task was the film titles research, which is how films present titles, especially thriller films, because that's what I'm going to be making. Thriller films have all got sort of a few things in common with their titles. One of them being that almost all had a black background with a white font. This obviously works with thriller films, so it's obviously something I'm going to use. If I didn't use it, there'd be no point in doing my research. So I'll use that when making my titles and hopefully it will be as effective.